Welcome to the Can I Borrow Your Car podcast. I am your chief cook and bottle washer, Mike Garrison, author of Can I Borrow Your Car. This podcast is devoted to professionals that understand that collaboration is both a science and an art. And I am very honored to have on a new friend, someone that I get to see face to face in more than a few months. But this year, Adi Klevit. Adi, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone? And did I just spell your name? Did I say your name wrong?
Hey, Mike, thank you for having me. I am so happy to be here. And the way I pronounce my name is Adi, but a lot of
Adi.
people call me Adi, so I respond to both. So, yes, I'm excited to be here. I am a process consultant, and my team and I specialize in creating, documenting, optimizing, implementing processes and procedures for fast-growing companies and companies that are exiting, different companies that in different stages, but that's what we do. We create processes and make sure they're implemented. And I am very excited to see you in the 40 Growth Conference
Yes.
that is going to be held by and is put together by Carl Cox's team. And he was a guest on your podcast. He was 3 times, I believe, on my podcast. So maybe I was 3 times on his podcast, or maybe both of us. No, we definitely were several times on each other podcasts. And Carl is amazing. He's an amazing entrepreneur and first of all, an amazing human being, a great connector. And he is super competent in terms of creating strategies for businesses. And I was a speaker at his conference in November. So that's why I'm saying the listeners definitely check it out. The Growth Conference, it's an amazing conference because there is so much content that business owners can implement right away. So highly recommend, and I'm excited to see you there in person.
Yeah, I can't wait. And it's also like I first heard about you, not from Carl, but from a mutual friend of ours, George Sandman, who was at that conference with you in November. And
And George is amazing. I did a podcast with him as well. I was on his podcast. So
yeah,
we should include all of it in the show notes so people can see that. But yeah, a big
absolutely.
shout out to George.
So note out to my team because I'm terrible at show notes. This is on you, John. John, you're in charge of show notes. So one of the things when Adi and I were talking, did I say it right? Adi?
Perfect.
Okay, excellent. I hear much better than I speak. That's why my Spanish teacher's like, Mike, you comprehend, but you don't have enough discipline. She was lovely, but you don't have enough discipline. I'm like, well, never heard that before. So I wanted to talk with you because what people don't understand about the work I do on the relationship side with referrals and collaboration is that processes and systems are what makes it work. And what frustrates me the most, because processes and systems inside of businesses is something that I touch upon, but it's not my specialty. It's especially in general business. I have a very narrow niche. Within that niche, I'm very confident, very competent. But I am always excited to meet people like you that are able to provide massive value on what actually makes the business run. Like there's a whole bunch of things, and I always say that sales is the most important thing because that's how we measure success. But then people don't remember that sales isn't asking for the business. Sales is being able to deliver
Right.
the business. And your ability as a sales organization to be profitable is wholly dependent upon processes and systems.
That's right.
Processes and systems. So I know you would agree, but I'm going to ask anyways. Would you agree that kind of the burr under the saddle, but also the gold in the rainbow at the end of the rainbow is effective collaboration with other experts and specialists, both inside a business and outside? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to have your trusted advisors and you have to have the collaboration and the communication, the handoffs. Yes.
Yeah. And so I we we don't have you for 3 hours, right?
No.
So so it I think most people can think of collaboration that's gone bad. I think
Okay.
I think there's a lot of, but what I don't think, and I bet you have, because I have snooped around, what most people don't think about is a process or a system of collaboration. How do you approach that? Because the work you do with your
Yeah.
clients is very technical, it's complex, it's not a day. How do you, for your team and for your client, and then for these outside potential advisors, how do you help structure that process and system of collaboration?
I believe that the collaboration will be the most effective when you have good handoffs, because that's when you collaborate. So, for instance, if you have, you gave the example of sales. So, you can be a great salesperson, but if your production, whatever that production is, installation, servicing the client, whatever that is, if the client is not being serviced, you're also not going to get your commission because there is going to be a refund request and it's going to be a problem. So
Are you are
that
you are you picking on
handoff,
me? Are you
abs-
I used to sell enterprise copiers in DC, and you you are directly stepping on memories.
interesting. Yes. Well, I didn't know that, but you will talk about that, not me. But those places where it breaks down, that handoff is very important. And I think that needs to be documented. What does it mean to document it? You have to, let's say you have a handoff meeting between sales and production. Good. Who needs to be there? What information needs to be known? All of that needs to be part of that.
I I couldn't agree more. It was interesting how the firm, it was in Washington, DC, how the firm handled that. They basically threatened all the salespeople with death by dismemberment if they ever made installer or a service person angry. So, like, we created this culture that sales was the lowest echelon in the company, even though we made the most money, and everything.
Fascinating how it goes.
Yeah, I don't think that's the healthiest way to do it, but it worked because the installers made the least amount of money in the entire company. However, we treated them like superstars. I mean, it's like there was lots of, shall we say, gifts and entertainment that, usually because they all were drank a lot, usually it was it was like, but if you had a great installer, your referrals from new clients went way up because they made you look good. They would talk about it. What we didn't have, which you just highlighted, was that explicit documented handoff, which I believe so powerfully in, because that's how I believe referrals should be done. Like, if you really care about people, the handoff, right? And then the hand back. These things should not be left to chance. They should be documented, not to, like, micromanage, Adi, but to
Right.
preserve safety and productivity.
I agree with you. I mean, whenever you make the referral, you have to pass it along it's like a power pass. You pass it along powerfully with your own power, and then it creates it's a whole different, being received differently if that's being done. And that can be a system by itself as well. So if somebody is a good networker, a connector, and they want to make the referrals and they want to make those passes, that's the way you do it.
Yeah. So, I wanna transition a little bit because, like, I'm actually gonna ask you a question that may be hard to answer, but, like, in your career, which is very impressive, but in your career, how many professionals do you think you may have collaborated with?
Oh, I can't even tell you. I
Hundreds?
don't know.
Right.
Hundreds for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we started this by talking about one of my favorite collaborators, which is Carl Cox,
Yes. Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And I have not, so Carl, I am sorry, I admit it publicly. I have not referred Carl enough business, right? I'm working on it. But what I like about Carl is he, number one, is someone that I believe is going to be explicit and intentional about every communication he has with a client of mine, which is huge for me. Like, I do not like surprises.
Yes.
If it's my car, I want to know when it's coming back and I want it in great condition. The other thing I like about Carl is he's a master connector as well. In addition to Carl, so that's enough nice words for Carl. In addition to Carl, what are some examples of either past or current collaborators that you enjoy working with the most and why?
So I enjoy working with other professionals. I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, so let's say an HR consultant. So if I'm working with a client and we are creating processes and procedures for that client, and I'm not going to go into specifics because we collaborate with several HR
Mhm.
consultants,
Sure, sure.
but I like that collaboration because then I have a professional on the other side. Look, if we have questions, so if the client has questions about if we're documenting their HR process, but we're working with a professional, we both work together and we can see how we can enhance the products that we are providing for the client.
Mm. So, interesting question for you. Little bit of a change. Do you and your collaborators refer back and forth to each other?
We do and we don't
Ah.
because because what I learned about referrals
Mhm.
is that you do have some kind of a hierarchy. Meaning
Oh, oh,
if we are being brought to work with a client by, let's say, an executive coach or an EOS implementer or another consultant, then we are in our arena. We are basically executing on the request of the referee, the person that referred to us, because we are augmenting their work.
mhm,
So then we have professions that it's very easy for us to refer. For instance, we are documenting the accounting department for a client and we see that it's not working very well. Okay, good. Not a problem. We can refer to a bookkeeper and I've done it a lot. But
mhm,
it's basically going downstream on the referrals. It sometimes can go upstream, but usually we are already in are coming to see a client that already has an executive coach or an
mhm.
implementer or so I like to build my referral network in such a way so it's not one for one because
Oh,
there
yeah.
can't be and
No,
there
it
can
can't.
be that expectation. So it can be, okay, I'm going to give you 5 referrals, you're going to give me 5 referrals. They just create unnecessary pressure on the system and it's not always doable.
I I could not agree more. I could not agree with you more. Quotas are not for collaboration. What's interesting for me is so just because I'm fascinated with what you do, because I
Mhm.
don't do it. So that's why I'm super interested. I'm really bored with what I do. So like when would you say what because basically what I'm hearing you is like there's first chair and second chair. Who owns the client, right? Or who is the initiator of the business versus who is the continuance. How
I mean, do
often
you agree with that? I mean, do you see that yourself as well?
so so I do not disagree with it. I have a different system that's much more intricate when it comes to referrals designed to produce reciprocity without obligation.
So how do you do that? I'm curious.
So for example, I get referred a lot by financial advisors to business owners. I almost always bring back a referral for the financial advisor after the first meeting with their client because I go into that meeting looking to build the reputation of my person referring me in first. Because my rule is, can I borrow your car means I want it back. And you put anytime somebody refers you, you're putting mileage on the relationship. And so
Right.
if you do nothing specific to improve at least their reputation, you're
Yeah.
you're not a safe driver. And so, but what I do is most financial advisors aren't professional salespeople, and I am. And so part of my initial intake, no charge, almost always uncovers either business that is ready to be done, but they haven't gotten to, And so I return back with immediate ROI, usually in the tens of thousands of dollars. Or I have several different types of conversations I have. In my book, we talk about it. And my strategy is, hey, Adi, I love referrals. I'm here to help you. By the way, does Carl beat you up about referrals all the time? And the answer is always, well, no. I said, but he's amazing, isn't he? I said, can we just take a minute? Just take a minute and do something a little off. Would that be okay? And they go, sure. I said, I I know. I'm willing to bet that there have been people you've thought of introducing to Carl, but then you got distracted or you didn't know how to do it. I wrote a bestseller, multiple, on how to refer. Could we maybe take a moment and think about somebody that you've wanted to introduce to Carl but weren't comfortable? And they either say yes or no. And if they say yes, I say, great, who is it? And we do it like I've done this a lot. So we create a little introduction. Or they say, oh, I don't know. I say, okay, great. Well, how can I help you? And then I go in. So, but I start every conversation with a giving philosophy. So there are techniques. You have these techniques are not scripts. You have to be able to be very comfortable and
Right.
very adept that at not overstepping, because too often people are not aware of context in these situations. So I like your downstream thing. If I'm downstream in that situation, everything I'm doing is designed to, worst case scenario, have that person want to do it again.
I agree, and that is part of the. It's absolutely a must, to elevate the person that referred you. If you really believe in it, I believe, as you said, it has to be authentic, but it's also, I once asked one of the business consultants that will refer to me a lot, and I said, how can I exchange with you? Because I don't want. I mean, it makes me feel uncomfortable when I give, but then I'm not giving. And he said, you're giving me a lot because you're working with my clients, they're doing much better. And then they think about me when they think about you. I go, okay, fair enough. And I see that. Like when I refer to a bookkeeper, I don't expect them to reciprocate necessarily, but what I do expect is that they do a fantastic job with my clients. So my
Yes.
clients will thank me. Oh, wow, that was an amazing referral. Who else do you know? And that is, I think, it's kind of like chips that we add to our bank. It's kind of like, okay, that was really workable. Great. Who else do you know? And now it opened a whole opportunity to refer somebody else where I am actually
Absolutely.
helping in that way.
Yeah. So this is my terror. Well, you can't say it. So
I
I
can.
have two types of collaborators. I have very elite collaborators that I will introduce in my sales process. So they're trusted. We have explicit understanding of how we each sell and what's happening, and we partner to accelerate trust and judgment and create better sales results for both of us because we've got the same type of client base. And then I've got everyone else, which is post transaction, right? When I'm doing the work and I'm arranging for other people. One of the things that you just elucidated is that reciprocity should be documented is the wrong word, but it should be talked about because I tell people, they're like, well, how do I refer? I refer a ton of business. I do 200 free meetings with people that I end up referring out per year. And people are like, well, how do I help you? I'm like, when I introduce you to somebody and you do a great job, that is good enough because I will then leverage that experience with that client for my own benefit. That's on me because most of the folks, honestly, transparently, I don't want them trying to do something that they're not good at.
Right.
Right? I mean, I've got friends that like I have George Sandman is someone I refer 40 or 50 times a year. And the reason being is what he does particularly, and I'm on his board, right? So what he does is so attractive to my ideal clients that he's involved in my sales process
Mm.
before I land the six-figure consulting gig because he explicitly knows to your I loved how you talked about it, right? So I can't wait to refer you. It's gonna happen. But like he knows where he sits in, he knows what to do, he communicates amazing, keeps me in the loop without being overly
That
um
is so important right there. It's not because that's one of the things that I do is I ask the person that refers to me, how do you want to be informed? Because some people don't want to. They don't want it to be bothered. I'm gonna connect you, do whatever, that's it. Even in those
and they
cases,
mean it. They mean
yeah,
it.
they mean it. That's right. And some would want to be, but if somebody's ambiguous, so they don't know. I always like today. I had a great lady that referred two amazing people to me. I'm just gonna write her a great communication saying thank you. I met with them and we're continuing the conversation because otherwise, I mean, that's the way I would like to get it back. Like, I'd like people to tell me what happened because my main like the gain of it is that people actually doing business with each other. I mean, that's the biggest win.
Well, and that's what I always say is like, so this is my little pitch for what I do. I said, I teach the only form and coach the only form of marketing that my clients own, word of mouth.
Yeah,
Like they're the platform, they're the channel. It's also the only form of marketing that requires and guarantees personal development.
that's true. That's very
Right.
true. So true. You
Yeah.
know, when I go on podcasts or when I have my own and I'm being asked, I mean, the subject of AI always comes up.
Oh my, thank you. Please.
So I want to hear from you, actually. I know you're
Oh
interviewing
no,
me, but I'm
no.
curious. You have so many ideas. How is AI affecting referrals?
Woo. So, so I'm gonna not steal from a friend of mine, but the barbell is happening, right? So we've got big weights at either end, and then we got this really thin zone. So I think, is making it really hard for passive referral systems to continue to be valuable. I I think it will confuse and swallow up passive dopamine. Oh yeah, I remember a D. Like I think it's gonna eat that up. And I think most people are gonna be um swept aside by trying to game AI to figure out how to have AI refer them. And I think that is a fool's mission. I think people like you, well, number one, you're already AI friendly because you've written so much and you've done so much stuff. Me too. Like I perform very
Right.
well on because I'm published and all these things. I think people like you and I are going to experience spectacular success because AI is going to create doubt. So our client, you and I love working
Mm,
with successful business owners, usually multimillionaires, right? That do not suffer from a lack of information.
right.
And so AI is going to increase the volume, which I mean, 5 years ago, I could not have imagined anything being louder than social media. Like, that's I was wrong. I was wrong. AI is louder. It's even worse than social media. More fake. Woo! How can I get some of that? So here's what I think's gonna happen. I think professionals that are comfortable talking about ROI, comfortable talking about delivering explicit processes, systems, right? We are gonna be selling something that AI cannot provide, confidence,
That's very true.
right?
I can totally see that. Yes. Yes. That's
That's it,
right.
because my clients are already coming to me going, I was on ChatGPT and doing all this stuff, and they're either completely worried or they're kind of fearful. They're like, "I think I've got a good idea. Can I run it by you?" Half the time it's crap, right? But other times it's good. And I say, "Okay, well, like, I liked what it's AI saying to you. What's the problem?" He's like, "I don't know what to do."
So it's the activity, it's the actions, it's actually implementing it.
Right? Because it's the same old game. Like, we are hired, like, I believe we are hired to create confidence.
That's right. I mean, if you look at it as an accountant, they have software of how to do taxes. I mean, I wish you and I can learn that software, but I'm not confident I know what I'm doing. And I also don't want to be confident. I want somebody else to tell me, yes, this is what I recommend, and this is it, and
Please.
sign off on it and get it out, and
Yeah.
I don't have to do it.
Yes. No, and like I think I think ironically, the people that could benefit the most from AI, which are the micro businesses, potentially are going to benefit the least.
Why is that?
I think they have the least amount of institutional bandwidth to appropriately vet information.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what scares me is, I'm moving more and more to an arrangement with clients where I'm an in-house subject matter expert helping to coach and helping to, in the moment, adjust strategy as opposed to what used to be traditional. I'll talk to you once a month. We're going to have this and execute this system. Um, Particularly because there's so much information. Like when you look at financial advisors in exit planning, no one has more at risk. No one has more income at risk in the entire exit planning world than the financial advisor. No one, because of liquidity at the end. And they're the only professional that's there at the end as well. And yet, they're the least likely to refer.
Mm.
They know they should, they know they have to, but they're already frustrated from referring on the individual side and trying to get attorneys to return phone calls and do good work. And then they look at people like us, and we're doing one of two things. You ready? We're
Yes.
increasing or decreasing friction,
Right.
you know? And that's what AI is. AI, unfortunately, is going to, I think, dramatically increase friction in the sales process for people that don't sell professionally.
I can see that. I can
So
see that.
from your thing with the process, so like, do you mind? We got a little bit more time.
Sure.
I have to ask you this because one of the hardest things to do as a consultant is when you walk in and you do your discovery and you go, oh my God, oh, and you see that process or system and you know it's wrong. I am always looking for people like you that are peers or quite frankly smarter. Like I talked to Carl about you. So that's the like how could you encourage the business owner that might be listening and maybe another consultant? How do you approach that business owner to help them? Because like, let's be honest, it can be really intimidating and hard to change processes and systems for these.
Yeah, and
How do
and
you help them?
it's a really good question because
Yeah.
one of the things that I always say is like we don't change for the sake of change. So for us to change something, we really have to understand why, and we actually want. Let's say I'm working with you, you have to convince me why you want it to change. What will be the benefits of it? And we'll do one thing at a time, and we'll measure it to make sure that there are no major changes. And we are very much into a partnering and consultative approach. So if you have a process that you know that is broken, we're going to talk to you about what is not working, what frustrates you the most. What if we need to change anything, what would that be? And what effect would it have on you? Why do you want to do it? And then also measure what is going to happen when that happens. So I think it's actually not that difficult to get business owners to want to change because they already see what's wrong. I mean, they
Mhm.
will see at the end of the process that this is not working. Well, what if? Let's do a what if scenario. What if this is going to be different? What is going to be the result? So it is just like anything in life, sell or be sold, So it's like you
Mhm.
sell the change to the group, to the owner of the process.
So how like so just because I guarantee you somebody's going to hear this and is going to be interested. I guarantee you. How, in your opinion, what is the best way that someone can begin the introduction process for you and your firm? Because it's not just you, you've got a team. What's the
That's
best
right.
way? what's the best way to start the process of bringing in a process improvement? Like I think based upon what we've learned today and also what I know about you, I mean, process and systems is an aspect of what you do, but there's a whole lot more to it.
Well, yes, because it's all about processes and systems. So we document the processes, we create them, we optimize, and then we implement. We roll it out to ensure that everyone is actually using it.
Mm.
So in terms of how to do it, like how to start the process, the first process is always an initial consultation. So call me, text me, email me, book a call. I mean, you go to our website, bizsuccesscg.com. We have like buttons all over, book a call, book a call. So just book a call.
I've been to it. It's a nice website. It's effective. It's got the stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so like um kind of getting ready to pull into the parking lot here. Cause I used to say land the plane, and then a listener was like, it's a car podcast. Stop using plane analogies. And so if you're still listening, bro, I'm working on it. Like from your perspective, what's something I missed or what's something you would want to add for the business owner out there that's trying to make good decisions about working with consultants like you?
Identify for yourself why you need it. Figure out your why. I always start with that. Why do you want processes and procedures? Because somebody told you that's not good enough of a reason. Why? What difference would it make in your life? Can you do it yourself? If you can, great. If you don't, then reach out to a professional.
Yeah, I think that's where AI is gonna help us, you and me. Because I tell people, I'm like, "Hey, look, have you run this scenario through AI yet?" I ask them, and if they say no, I said, "Okay, that all that tells me is that you're gonna run that after I talk to you." Like, I would rather have the client have already kind of asked these questions, right? And so one of the things that I've been playing around with is little custom GPTs that work a client through a a simple little model, right? And so, like, my big thing is ideal client, right? And it's basically a free little GPT that helps them develop an ideal client avatar profile and then spits out something because my lineup for my clients is like, I'm gonna make you go through my process for an ideal client anyways. You might as well do it ahead of time, right? It's insane. So
That's great.
thank you. Thank you. I George Sandman. George Sandman is my AI sensei. And a guy named Andy Weevil, who's another growth drive guy. Andy's a
Yeah.
great consultant from the United Kingdom. He's almost too smart. Like I have to be heavily caffeinated and I have to be ready to be intelligent. Man. So can you take a minute and tell everybody how to find you and all the different stuff? And then I just would like to say after that, we'll close out, but it has been an absolute wonderful conversation.
Thank you. It was absolutely, I mean, I learned a lot, which is awesome. It's definitely got me to think about things in a different way. So thank you for that. Yeah, people can find me on LinkedIn. So it's Adi Klevit. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Adi Klevit there. I mean, I actually
You
checked, so
are.
I am there. I
You
am
are.
because I checked. Yes, and so definitely reach out through LinkedIn. You can always call or text at 503-662-2911. And you can email me, adi at bizsuccesscg.com. Plenty of ways to reach out to me.
Yeah. I really recommend, just for the listener that's still here, it's one of the greatest things you can do to increase confidence is know that your processes and systems are good.
That's right.
And if you want to increase sales, the first step is to increase the confidence in your ability to deliver the results after the sale.
That's
And
right.
so many people miss that. They don't understand that that's why they're not as effective in acquiring clients. And it's because everyone in the organization is worried about serving the clients. When you know that you're a Nordstrom, when you know you've got tremendous products and tremendous systems, all of a sudden everyone in the organization is freed up. Thank you for doing that for people. And thank you for being on Can I Borrow Your Car?
Thank you for having me.
It was wonderful.